Welcome to Saddle Up Live, a transformative podcast tailored for women aged 40 and beyond, where courage, God's grace, and a touch of sass are the driving forces behind conquering life's challenges. Join me, Lisa Koski, as I take you on a captivating ride through the multifaceted aspects of womanhood in this vibrant stage of life. We are covering everything from my journey through breast cancer, the intricacies of marriage, and the joys of motherhood, to the exciting adventures of grandparenting. In each episode, we saddle up for candid conversations about God, health, relationships, family dynamics, and the beautiful chaos that comes along the way. But here's the twist. Saddle Up Live goes beyond navigating the highs and lows of life. It's a platform dedicated to sharing what we have learned along the way. I want to help women thrive through it all. Together, we'll uncover actionable strategies for personal and professional development, providing you with the tools and inspiration needed to blaze new trails and seize every opportunity that comes your way. Moreover, we are committed to helping you suffer less and live more fully. Through our discussions on God, health, wellness, and mindfulness, we explore practical techniques for managing stress, cultivating resilience, and embracing a holistic approach to self-care. So whether you're looking for practical advice, heartfelt stories, or simply a supportive community of like-minded women, saddle up and join us on this exhilarating ride. Because at Saddle Up Live, we believe every woman deserves to thrive, flourish, and live her best life, no matter her age or stage. Welcome, listeners. I'm so excited to have you here today because I have a new friend in my little rehab cancer journey that I met at NovaCare Physical Therapy, where I went for, and still going for after surgery. And I'm getting some help through chemo so that things go well. I've got Jessika Wheeler, an occupational therapist who I love. Jessika, thank you so much for jumping on Saddle Up Live.
Of course. Happy to be in the saddle.
Oh, you're good.
I tried.
I knew you would be good. So Jessika, so what I kind of want to talk about today, because I don't want to always be like just cancer stuff, but I
Yeah.
want to help people who are going through chemo with this program that I'm going to be doing. But I also want to talk about how it helps you just in everyday life too. But before we get there, can you give us a little background? Give us your authentic story. What led you to do this work?
Yeah. So, like you said, I'm an occupational therapist by training. And my love for occupational therapy specifically started like back in high school. I was one of those weirdos that knew what I wanted to be at a very young
Yeah,
age, and I like did it.
that's
Yeah.
so cool. I have a daughter
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, I was gonna say yes. So I was just fortunate enough to be able to like know what I wanted, and I went for it. So, um, yeah, occupational therapy, we talked a little bit about this, is similar with physical therapy and a little bit of speech language pathology too. But really, the goal of occupational therapy is to enable people to do their occupations, which are the meaningful and necessary daily activities that give our lives meaning and to
Mhm.
help us fulfill necessary roles. So I get to use kind of physical interventions like exercise or massage techniques, as well as psychosocial interventions. So I get a little bit of psychology training as
Cool.
well as some cognitive rehabilitation tools in my belt too. So I just I fell in love with OT specifically because it was really all about eliminating barriers to getting people doing what they want and need to do and doing it safely, and then promoting health and wellness long term. So I just that mission really spoke to me. And then
Mhm.
specifically cancer rehabilitation, I just while I was going through college in my occupational therapy program at the University of North Dakota. Yeah. Um um I just was learning more about like the scope of occupational therapy and what it can do for people, and I was like, having seen cancer or loved ones go through a cancer journey, I'm like, where was this kind of offering for those people that are having real side effects from their different treatments, physically, mentally, and cognitively? that I was like, OT could have been doing so much for this. And
You know,
so,
I love
yeah.
that you're saying that because I think about, the first time I came in and saw you, I was like, I was a deer in headlights. I mean, I was so scared. I didn't want to talk about what even though I have a great prognosis, a great outcome, it was scary. It was hard. And I remember you said, and this is what, so I didn't realize I can talk to you about this stuff too when I come in tomorrow. I'm coming in tomorrow.
Woo!
But so not only is this helping me so that I feel better through chemo by staying active, getting my arm to move better after that surgery, but you said something when I was in the first time and you said, "Oh, we want you back out there with your horses." Now that doesn't mean I'm going to go jump on one right now. I promise I'm not. But there's
Thank
such
you.
a fine line between I want to be really careful because I don't want to do something that's going to hurt me, right? But I also want to live. And I don't want to end up bitter. I don't want to be a bitter old lady because I'm crabby because I have to go through this, And so that's that. I didn't even know that was part of being an OT, but I saw that in our first meeting. And so I appreciate that. I'm gonna lean into that a little bit because boy, it can get a little depressing. You think, well, I probably shouldn't garden just in case I get a cut and get some dirt in there. And then, you know what I mean? So it's just like
Yeah.
how do you work with that? So it's I thought you were a physical therapist until today.
A lot of people do. Well, because that's the beauty of like cancer rehabilitation or just rehabilitation as a whole is that we complement each other and we're all in line. And certain times we look like it might look like we're the other discipline, but
Yeah.
within our own individual scope of practice, right? Because like a physical therapist, I can use exercise and like massage
Right.
techniques, like I was saying, to get like tissues in the physical body what I want it to be doing, right? To make sure the joint's doing what we want it to do, that you know what I mean? You have the posture to be able to sustain upright
Right.
sitting safely on
I
a
just
horse
thought
and
I don't have
right. I
good
was gonna say
posture.
everyone and as we all correct our posture, right? Um, but then cognitively and like emotionally, psychosocially too. So cognitively, some people start to have issues with attention or memory. So they get, I don't want you to
Oh
get on
my
a
God,
ride,
don't tell
right?
me that.
Yeah. No. Well, and so I say these things because sometimes like they don't happen to everybody, right?
Yeah.
And there's such a scale and a spectrum too. But some people think like, oh, this is just a small thing. It's like it might just be a small thing, but just it's normal. It's almost expected for certain times or types of treatment as a known side effect. And it's just there's things that people can do. It's not so that way it doesn't have to be scary. Don't tell me that. It's like, no, I
Right.
want you to be an informed participant. So in that way
Right.
you can be mindful and not afraid of the information.
Right. And I think that when I started out this journey, I was afraid of the information. And I don't know why. I'm kind of baffled.
Lisa, you don't come on. You know, we said the big C word, cancer.
Yeah,
Come
I know.
on.
That doesn't that just like clobber you over the head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can be afraid. And if you're like, I don't want to be a bitter woman. No, you can be a little bitter sometimes, you know, like
Yeah.
you just like that's an okay space to be in.
Yep.
I
Yeah, I
just don't
just
want you to
don't want to
linger there
stick
for
to
your
it
own
too
health
much.
and well being.
Pardon?
I said, I just don't want you to linger there for your own health and well
Yes.
being because you
Yes.
deserve better than
Amen.
that. People deserve better than to feel bitter about what they got.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, when at the end of my life, when I'm looking back, I don't want to think about this as I want to use it as an ultimate gift.
Yeah.
So that's really important to me. So now, okay, so we know a little bit about Jessika.
Yeah.
And now I want to talk about, and I forgot to bring my sheet out. I was going to bring my sheet, so maybe I am having a little bit of that.
No.
My sheet that
Oh my
tells
gosh.
me about this program.
Yes.
Um, so let's talk about, so when you're going through chemo, so because I have had my breast surgery, I don't have all my restrictions lifted yet. So
Right.
I really want to start the strength training because a woman my age, we know just living life without cancer, we really need that. And so that's why this program is important to know whether you're going through chemo or not.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And so what I have been able to do though is walk. And so I've just been walking. I've been trying to get like 10,000 steps a day.
Okay.
because that's what I can do right now.
Yeah.
But tell me about that program a little bit and how it benefits us.
Well, and so even the program that we're kind of on with you with Dr. O'Leary and her wonderful referral,
Oh,
but
we
even
love
taking like a
Dr. O'Leary. She's going to be on
shout
too.
out.
Yeah. Lady Slipper Breast Center. Yeah.
Yes. Um, but even just looking a step back too, because the program you're on is individualized to you. So
Hmm.
the deal is we got you in for prehabilitation, right? With Dr. O'Leary or through
Yep.
Dr. O'Leary's process. So like we met like first time, you tell me, what do we talk about? What to expect, things
Yep.
you can do around the house, things you shouldn't do around the house,
Right.
right? And we got a lot of baseline measures, right? About
Yep.
your strength, your motion, all that kind of stuff. Then when we bring you in after, like you said, we want to keep you exercise and active because there's so much research. And I wish I could like share a screen or like send you guys things. Um,
I can
but
put it, if you have something, I can put it in the show notes.
okay. Yeah. Or do you want me to just email it to you?
Yep. Just email it to me
I'll do
after.
that. Yeah, so it's called Exercising Through Cancer. It's from the American College of Sports Medicine, and they outline beautifully what the benefits are of cardiovascular aerobic training as well as resistance training, and then what combined training does for various kinds of side effects going through cancer. So for you, like you said, we just got to keep you moving because you've got a
Yep.
life to live. So I need your body to safely be able to keep up with that
Yep.
at these specific points in your care when we can do that and what
Yep.
that looks like, what that physical exercise looks like safely and appropriately for you at that moment, right? Surgery, chemo, other things.
Hmm.
Um, but then long term, what that sets us up for too, and this is what the Strength After Breast Cancer exercise program is really designed around, is more lymphedema prevention. Okay. So that's what Dr. O'Leary plugs a lot of folks into, is because anytime we're removing lymph nodes and things like that, we can increase our risk for lymphedema because we've thrown off the body's ability to move fluid effectively to keep up with our daily demand. And so, what that program specifically does is it is conditioning your lymphatic system progressively over
Okay.
time. No, there's no real upward limit to what people can do with lymphedema. It's just all about how we train to get there and doing it
Okay.
slowly and safely enough.
Can
Giving,
I,
like you said, within your surgical post-op guidelines and things like that.
right. So is that a lot of like the deep breathing stuff that you gave me to do, or is it the movement stuff too?
No, so it's really, we haven't even gotten into the strength after breast cancer stuff yet.
I know, I can't wait. I hope I get to.
Because we're just making sure that your body is ready and
Hmm.
healing after surgery. So that's the deep breathing, right? That's the
Yep.
getting your shoulder motion back and keeping it comfortable, right? Getting all those
Yep.
muscles and things ready and primed. So in that way, when Dr. O'Leary says you can lift weights again, then your body's ready for that. Because
Yep.
in order to qualify for the Strength After Breast Cancer program, I have to make sure cardiovascularly you're good to go, joint structure and function you're good to go, post surgical precautions. So really, we're making sure you're ready for that when we get the all clear. So it's like a multi-step thing. So we have to like qualify you for that
Right.
kind of along the journey.
Well, and I've got to say, Jessica, I'm really kind of shocked. So many women deal with this. They're falling out of the clouds. I'm just meeting so many women, hearing stories, and I know people who have been through it before me. A lot of them never worked with someone like you. And my gosh, I have a good friend who has been through this, had a double mastectomy, still has issues, never went to anyone.
Yeah.
And so she's going to hear about you. But I mean, I just think we have to keep that in mind. And even if it's a loved one that that's going through this, if their surgeon isn't someone like Dr. O'Leary who's going to pick you up and carry you through this, then you need to let people know that this is really going to help you.
Yes. Well, and so, I mean, like you said, so many people, I think there's not a person on this planet that can't say they don't have a loved one that's been affected by cancer.
I know.
And not to be a nerd, right? But to throw out some numbers, 60 to 90% of cancer survivors, and that's someone from point of diagnosis all throughout their continuum of care, that is a cancer survivor. Okay. Um, but 60 to 90% of cancer survivors have at least one need that can be addressed by rehabilitation.
Right.
However, less than 10% are referred.
Isn't that
And
crazy?
it is crazy. And so like you said with your doctors, it's on us to advocate and spread the word that we're out here to help. There are trained cancer rehabilitation specialists out there, and that your oncologists are they're wonderful doctors, right? They're going to say, "Yes, let's get you plugged into as many services as we can to help
Right.
support you in this moment and long term." So just
And
ask, because usually they're going to say, "By all means, I love that idea." If they don't already have a specific process like
right,
Dr. O'Leary built in.
right. Well,
Yeah.
and I think the thing that can be daunting though, like for someone like me, because I was, fit before this, I
Mhm.
I think I was kind of like, I don't really know if I need to do that. And I was so overwhelmed. There's so many appointments right away, but I'm going to say like it's worth it. It is worth it to, yeah, absolutely. It just makes you feel better and it makes you know what you can do and what you
Mhm.
can't do.
Yeah.
Um, and then as I'm sitting in here, I'm like, well, when can you usually start lifting? How long after surgery?
Well,
Is it 6
that
to
really
8 weeks
depends.
usually?
Yeah, it depends on the type of surgery, if there's plastic
Yeah.
surgery involved, because there's always, yeah, and each
Mhm.
surgeon's got their own different guidelines, and each surgery, right, can be different individually. So
Right.
that's a
All
tough
right.
one to
So
call.
no answer for me now on that
No,
one.
I'm sorry.
So tell me about how this is going to positively affect me as I continue on through chemo.
Well, like you said kind of earlier, that's I really just want to set you up for success long term, right?
Yep.
So you're an exerciser. So for you in your own life, I want to make sure that you're doing the stuff that adds value and meaning, occupations, right?
Yes.
Value and meaning to your life.
Mhm.
So being able to take care of yourself, take care of your house, take care of your barn and your horses, participate with your family, have the energy and the mobility and the mental endurance, the cognitive endurance to be able to do all that stuff. But then on the more of the medical side, there's so many benefits to exercise and getting plugged into cancer rehabilitation um, early on or really at any point throughout your treatment process. So, um, oh gosh, there's so many benefits for cancer related fatigue reduction.
Okay. Good.
Hmm. Yep. Um, you talked about like bone density concerns, right?
Yep.
For women as we get older, go
Yep.
us. Um,
Not you,
appropriate
but
resist.
me, yes.
Right. Hey, I'm at just give me time. Just give me time. Um, but resistance training safely, right, can help promote bone density. Um, cardiovascular endurance, there's just so many benefits. And then that's where I love the health promotion and prevention of all of this is specifically chemotherapy or other, and again, not to scare you. This is all just education because I feel like people miss this.
Yep.
Like there are side effects of chemotherapy, right? And we find that people can get back to doing their activities quicker after all that stuff when they're plugged into cancer rehab to keep us on the straight and narrow, right? And
Yep.
prevent secondary dysfunction.
Right.
So, like, I think we talked a little bit about chemotherapy, and sometimes they're like neurotoxic. So they can cause like numbness and tingling in the hands
Yep.
and feet, right? So, I want to keep it as simple as I can, right? Where it's just your hands and feet are numb sometimes or in different elements of it, and address that as we can. So, in that way, we don't bury our head in the sand and miss the like concerns that are red flags of my feet are numb and they're getting progressively more numb. Now I'm tripping on things because I don't
Right.
want people to have some kind of secondary down the line issue that lands them with another thing that they have to recover from before we can get back to other exercise and
Right.
activity.
Got it. Totally makes sense.
I always say I'm like a Boy Scout. I want to leave the campsite better than I found it, right? So I want to leave your body better than we found it, even if you're a previous exerciser.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be amazing. That's what I want.
Good. Fabulous.
Yes, yes. And it's so funny because when you said bury your head in the sand, Jessica, is that normal? Because that's what I want it to do. Is it normal
Well,
or
it's
am I
incredibly normal, and I think it
is
makes
it?
sense, right? It's a protective response. You're getting information bombarding you all the time, let alone pretty intense health information.
Yeah.
So, having somebody to kind of say, "Let's pause, let's process this,"
Mhm.
when your brain might not even be ready to process it. It's really tough, right?
It
And so
is.
that's why I love being able to help people throughout this journey because I can help dose some of that education information out at strategic times. So that way it's
Yep.
not overwhelming all at once.
Right.
But that way you get, like, again, we just kind of give it out intermittently to make sure that it gets delivered so we can stay ahead of the game on a lot of these things because prevention is usually the name of the game.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, just making sure that it doesn't all feel so scary.
Right. And I think my messages for the listeners is please go to therapy if you have cancer or you have a surgery or you, like my husband has a rotator cuff issue. Like I just feel like, and you know what? I was never someone that would. I never would have been someone that would have done this because I didn't want to look at all the things. I thought that's not going to happen to me. I'm fit. I'll figure this out. And there was a part of me that was burying my head in the sand and I needed a little push. And so I hope this is a little push for someone,
Yeah.
just a gentle one, because it's hard and it's a lot, but it's good. It's a good thing. It's
And
a
I hope,
gift.
yeah, I hope that as long as I always hope it feels that way because I always like push. It's such an aggressive term, but like really, I'm
I
just here to
know.
hold your hand, right?
Yes.
It's a come along with
Yes.
me. You're not alone. I'm not going to push you, right?
Right.
It's a
Thank you for
gentle
saying that.
encouragement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Encourage you to do this because it took Dr. O'Leary to take my hand and just really send me there because I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to do any therapy.
Yeah.
So I feel like I understand when you don't have a physician that's leading you in that direction. We got to get the word out. But
Yeah.
this is good stuff that can really help you. So that's why we had you on. And I'm so thankful that you were. And now, Jessika, you tell me because we can wrap this up. We're already getting to the end. Is there anything else that you want to say?
Just that again, is information can be scary, and so I level with you on that.
Yep.
But I want people to know that we're here to help, whether it's pain, fatigue, shoulder tightness, issues with attention and memory, feelings of anxiety and depression, right, that are holding you back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, get help, right? You don't have to. That's, I mean, it is a part of like an expected cancer journey, but that doesn't mean you just have to sit there and take it.
Yep.
Right? There's people that are here to help. Obviously, physical therapy and occupational therapy and speech language pathology, but there's psychology, there's support groups.
Yep.
There's so many options out there to help you through this journey. Um, Nutritionists. I mean, there's so many. It's all invaluable. And I know it can seem like a lot. So take it in bites.
Yep.
Have someone kind of on your team with you to help hold your hand, take notes, and intermittently help you see the forest through the trees
Yeah.
because you also as the patient, right, as the cancer survivor, you reserve the right to sit in the trees and miss the
Yeah.
forest sometimes. That's
Yeah.
incredibly normal. So
Yep.
just give yourself the grace, have a good team, whether it be a family member, like I said, or a social worker, an occupational therapist. We're out here to help and there's so many options. You just got to ask.
I'm so thankful that you brought up team because I think I kind of thought the team mentality when I started this. I'm like, team, this is no team. This is me against this. What do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think I did a podcast and I was kind of blunt and said, I'm not into the team thing and and I'm not into some of it, but I appreciate that the people who need, to have kind of like their cancer team or whatever. But it isn't true that I don't have a team. It isn't true that there aren't people that support me through this. And even though like I'm in the midst of going through chemo, I have to tell you, it does get better. Like as you progress through this, it's not so daunting, believe it or not, and it does get better. So you can see a light, which is really special. We
Someone
all
once
need
said
that hope.
that you've already made it through 100% of your toughest days.
Yeah.
So you have everything you need to get through more.
Yeah.
And
Amen,
like I said,
sister.
the cancer team is sometimes you'll see them directly, right? They're going to be interacting with you. And sometimes it's just been your surgeon saying, do we need to consult with nutrition on this?
Yeah.
No, so far they're doing okay, right? So there's always these conversations in the background. And yeah, just make sure you have a team because we're all here to help.
Amen.
And I know it seems daunting, but
Yep.
many hands make light work. And it can really
Oh,
have a lot of positive benefits down the river.
yep. So good. So good. Okay. Well, we'll have to have you back on when I'm all done with this and back to my.
I feel like we should just film from the therapy clinic sometime.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see.
Or better yet, how about we'll get on the trail sometime? I'll dust off my
Yeah.
boots,
Saddle up.
saddle up. Can we do that? I'll bring my GoPro.
Yeah. You'll have to sign something just in case my horse bucks.
You got it. I've already been there, done that a couple of times. I'm fine.
Oh, all right, Jessika. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with my listeners today.
Of course, it was a pleasure. Yeah, have me back as often as you want, Lisa,
Ah,
anytime.
sounds good. Thanks so much. Take good care.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you for tuning in to another empowering episode of Saddle Up Live. As we conclude this exhilarating journey together, don't forget to subscribe, share your thoughts, and become a valued member of our vibrant community. Because, as always, every woman deserves to thrive, flourish, and live her best life. Until the next time, saddle up and keep conquering those trails.